Welcome back to Fun Movies. Today, I am going to explain a 2021 horror movie called No One Gets Out Alive. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. I hope you will enjoy this video. In the first scene of the movie, it starts with a Portuguese woman who is on the phone with her brother. She tells her brother that she wants to repair her relationship with her father, but her brother seems doubtful that it will work. Her attention is then diverted to the curtains in the boarding house, whereby she stares at the footprints that then disappear after some time. The lights then flicker and the phone disconnects, spurring her to search the house only to find an open stone box covered in moths. We then see a ghostly figure of the dead that appears behind her without her knowledge. Suddenly she is grabbed from behind and screams as she vanishes from sight. In the next scene, a truck of undocumented immigrants arrives in America from Mexico, one of them being Amber, who comes from Mexico in search of an American dream, having delayed her plans to leave Mexico due to her mother's illness. She works a garment factory job and she takes a room in a boarding house that only accommodates women and doesn't require an ID since she didn't have one. She then provides 1 month's rent for a deposit to the owner of the boarding house, Red. In the boarding house, things begin to get creepy, with strange noises and distant screaming, and she is taken back to her mother ailing with illness. In the morning, she notices powder on her door and lights going off after she has switched them on. She then bumps into another girl called Freya in the boarding while she was going downstairs. Freya seems disturbed by the creepy events going on in the house. Amber tells her that Red told her they are just the two of them as tenants in the boarding house, but Freya responds to her saying that Red is full of secrets and continues heading upstairs, leaving Amber in confusion. After Amber leaves the house, we spot two ghostly figures of dead people that were watching them from upstairs. Back in the garment factory scene, Amber struggles to make ends meet and meet her boss's demands of speed and production of many garments with good quality. After work, her friend Kinsey in the garment factory tries to encourage Amber not to change the name of her birthplace to Texas in her ID as it was expensive, but Amber still insists to change it. In the next scene, Amber decides to visit her distant uncle called Beto. Amber is then introduced to Beto's wife and her cousin Carlos. Here we learn that Amber never attended college because she was taking care of her mother who was sick, which delayed her in Mexico. Her uncle then assures Amber that he will set her up with a better job. He then tells her to attend the job interview accompanied by an ID. Amber seems disturbed by this and her uncle has no clue if she is an undocumented immigrant. The following day after work, Amber and her co-worker Kinsey decide to go for lunch in a nearby restaurant. Amber desperately agrees to be loaned the rest of the money. If her money was short for the ID, Amber then gives Kinsey all the money she had from her salary earnings. Back at the boarding house, she notices a man who knocks at the basement with his head repeatedly while he incantates. She looks at him in disbelief at what she has seen as she goes to her room. Later she decides to go to the kitchen, where she meets new girls in the boarding house, Petra and Maria. Amber then asks who the mysterious man was when Red came in. Red then informs her that the man is his brother called Becker, who is sick. When Red and the other two girls go upstairs, Amber remains behind and starts exploring around the rooms, and she finds a record that plays occultist sermons and photos of Red's family along with the mysterious box. The next day, when Amber reports to job, only finds out that her co-worker Kinsey resigned from her job and fled with her slim earnings. Amber is annoyed by this and tries to get Kinsey's home address from her boss to no avail, which makes her lose her job. She also tries to call her, but she is unreachable. Back at the boarding house, Amber is disturbed by muffled screams from within the shower drain as she was cleaning herself up. Just then a figure appears in the bathroom and disappears when she was trying to see it. After wearing her clothes on, she rushes out of her room where she bumps into Red. Amber seems to be disturbed and worried by strange things she heard encountered in her room. She asks about the whereabouts of Freya, another tenant of the house. Red informs Amber that the tenant left and agrees that he will give her the deposit she was asking for. She gets relieved and goes back to her room to sleep, but still, Amber cannot spend the night peacefully because she finds a sobbing ghostly woman on her knees before she is dragged away by another ghostly figure woman. Amber is officially freaked out and calls Beto to pick her up, but he is out of town. Beto convinces her to call the nearby police, but Amber disagrees because she knows she is an undocumented immigrant and does not have the necessary papers for her citizenship. She decides that she will wait for Beto to take his son Carlos to college and come back to pick her up. She then leaves the boarding house to try and find another accommodation house to no avail. She then goes to a restaurant where she is haunted by her ailing mother and the mysterious stone box. She is then shocked and wakes up quickly when a creature with huge arms attempts to get out of the stone box. Red then joins her in the restaurant. Amber reminds him to pay her deposit, but he tells her that he left the deposit back in the boarding house. Amber is then tempted back into the boarding house with Red so she can pick her deposit in her room as promised. Once they return, Amber ransacks her room for the deposit she was promised, but she never finds it. Red then comes into the room and tries to make Amber drink some wine, which she refuses to drink. Red then reveals that he simply kidnapped her for his brother's desires. Becker comes in and forces Amber to drink wine before they leave her in the room and warn her not to escape. Amber, still stranded what to do, is then joined with Maria and Petra, who is running away from Becker. Amber learns that the girls also are haunted by their past events and see the mysterious stone box. She discovers Red and his brother are sacrificing tenants to a creature in the basement that emerges from the stone box seen in her and her housemates' visions. Amber is then caught up with the haunted visions where she sees several dead ghostly figures of people. She does not see the girls who joined her in the room, but she then sees her mother, who calls her by her name. She then comes back to reality and realizes Becker and Red came to carry and force the girls upstairs. Amber tries to help the girls and escape, but she is overpowered by Becker and she is locked in her room as others are taken upstairs. Soon Bateau arrives at the boarding house. Bateau then forces his way through Red after noticing Amber screaming from the windows 3 floors up and the jacket she was given by his wife. When Bateau reaches Amber's room at the door, Becker appears behind him and starts beating him up till he bleeds profusely and dies. Once Amber is in chains, Red tells her that Becker believes that the stone box in the basement chose him. Red also tells her that Becker killed their mother, father, and many other undocumented girls like Amber. We learn that Becker sacrifices young girls to the creature so that he can feel better from his illness, and his brother Red helps him to do this. Amber nearly convinces Red to let her go, but Becker appears and smears blood over her face, with Becker ready for the next stage. He takes Amber downstairs to the basement as many other ghostly figures watch in silence. In the basement, she also finds another victim who was decapitated by the mysterious creature in the box. Becker removes the dead victim and lays her on a stone bed locked with chains. Becker opens up the stone box, which moths fly out from as a helpless Amber watches on whilst trapped to his stone bed. Amber begins to relive the memory of one of her last conversations with her ailing mother, where she comments on Amber's beautiful hair. At the same time, a creature appears from the stone box, which is a spider-like creature with a human head obscured by some membrane with arms that come down out of its core to pull it into a vaginal dentata mouth-like thing. Shockingly, Bateau is alive, and he frees her, but as they attempt to break through a door, it all goes black, and Amber is back on the stone bed. However, Amber in her memory refuses her mother's request for her to stay and then smothers her mother with a pillow. It is unclear whether this happened, or whether this is Amber's subconscious fighting against the monsters. The creature then crawls back into the stone box. Amber grabs what looks like a wooden cricket bat with sharp edges and goes after Red and Becker. Upstairs, while in a room with Red and Petra, Becker senses something is wrong. Just as Amber discovers Bateau's dead body, she immobilizes Red, but Becker manages to step on her ankle and break it, then throws one of the other women over the stairway railing to her death. Becker tries to do the same to Amber. However, she gains the upper hand by slashing his throat before bashing his head in repeatedly. With Becker dead, she turns her attention to Red, who she brings to the basement sacrificial chamber. Amber chains Red to the stone bed, forcing him to be a sacrifice to the creature. The creature comes out of the box and decapitates Red's head with its vaginal dentata, indicating she has served the monstrous creature with blood. Amber hobbles out towards the front door, but before she leaves she sees a moth flying around her, which she can seemingly control. Amber snaps her broken ankle back into place. The film closes with her staring out into the hallway, sunlight filtering through the door's glass pane, and her arteries expand due to the flowage of more blood from the sacrifices like Becker as the movie ends. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Stay safe, stick around and enjoy.